One of the happiest things in my Bibliopapa life has happened in the last few weeks with Russian fairy tales because my youngest just graduated cognitively where she can follow stories without the pictures. And we realized it because we started doing Grimm's fairy tales and she could follow them. And so then I started doing a couple of the Russians and she loves Russian fairy tales. And so I wanted to share my favorite ways for your family to get into them. I've always loved Ivan Bilibin. He is, I think, the best of the Russian illustrators, and he has a beautiful, beautiful illustrations of 6 Russian fairy tales in this little book. I think there are other collections, but it's amazing illustrations that I actually have on the background of my computer. Some of them I had for 10 years, so the kids are recognizing these. And of course, since these are only 6, there's 6 very famous and excellent stories like Vasilis the Wise and the Frog Princess. We're also watching animated collections of these from Soyuz Multifilm and other like great producers from around the world. So Ivan Bilibin for illustrations, but then also this is, as far as I know, the book to get for Russian fairy tales because it's collected by Aleksander Afanas'ev, who is basically the Grimm of Russia. He came a little bit after them, but he just went around and collected all of these Russian fairy tales. This fat book, I believe, is not everything. I believe he collected 600 tales total. But this great edition from Pantheon, the illustrations are by Alexander Alexeieff. And if you know anything about the history of animation, he was the cat who pioneered the pushpin animation style. It's very hard to do, very like time intensive, but it's just pushing pins through a screen and letting light and dark through. If you want to look up his name, you'll see some fascinating animations, and there have been more people following in his tradition. And so the illustrations in this book, there aren't a million of them, but there are some beautiful ones, and it is a wonderful style of illustration. And so this collection of Russian fairy tales is wonderful from the best collector and one of the best illustrators, and a whole bunch of them to get through. And Russian fairy tales are just intense and long. And when you view a fairy tale like some people do as Jungian, as each of them are different parts inside of yourself, a lot of these make a lot more sense. If the story doesn't narratively quite make sense, picture it as a your own hero's journey or some kind of integration of your own parts, and these do make a lot of sense. So that's what I would recommend for Russian fairy tales, and for me it's been so much fun to share these with my youngest.